Hi and welcome to the first ever Kindness Project podcast. We said that together. That wasn't planned. High five. That was Charlotte, who could mostly be described as young, scrappy and hungry.
And that was Chris James, the man who loves jazz so much you might as well call him the jazz man.
See, we differ in our relationship to jazz because I love jazz. I think jazz is awesome.
I don't mind jazz except if it's experimental.
Yeah, experimental jazz is a bit weird. I once went to a jazz club where the guy was playing the piano and then just every 10 or so minutes just wandered off.
What?
Got himself a beer and come back when he wanted to.
So he wasn't playing sober then?
Well, you couldn't tell, to be honest, because it was so experimental. We might have been playing sober or drunk. It sounded the same, but it was a good night out, to be honest. It was a good night out. So why did I just call you young, scrappy and hungry?
Well, it's to do with a musical we both like. I don't know if you like it as much as I do, mate, but...
Yeah.
Hamilton.
Hamilton, yeah, we both quite like Hamilton, and we're both quite excited because we're gonna see it soon, aren't we?
January, we got tickets. Woo.
January we got tickets, so yeah, it should be good, and we'll make sure we let you know what it's like on the podcast when we go and see it. So, just a brief explanation of what we're going to be doing. The Kindness Project is designed to help me write a book. I'm writing a book at the minute and I need some help. I've asked Charlotte to help me with the podcast, and the idea is we just share some happy, cheerful, good news stories about what's going on in the world, interview people who are doing great things and helping people, and trying to share some of the things that we're doing to just make the world a better place, right?
Yep. Absolutely.
But we don't only want to do that. We also want to have a little bit of fun and just share some ideas. So the first thing that we want to do is every podcast we're going to have a question of the podcast. Now, Charlotte, you don't know what this is yet, do you?
I'm oblivious.
You're oblivious to the question of the podcast. So this will be a bit of a hard one for you.
Oh, God.
Are you ready?
Go on, then.
And we want our listeners to get involved as well. So please tweet us. We're at Hola Kindness. My Spanish accent's not great. HOLA Kindness on Twitter.
Hola.
Or you can email us at hola at thekindnessproject.co.uk, and please feel free to visit the website and make comments and do whatever you need to on that. If you really enjoy the podcast as well, feel free to leave us a review. 5 stars is typical, to be honest, so feel free to leave us a review.
And keep listening.
And keep listening, yeah, because we've got some great stuff coming up, right, Charlotte?
Hope so.
So do I. I'm not convinced, but I hope so too. So would you like the question of the podcast?
Oh, go on then.
Go on then, right, here we go. If you could be any character from any of your favourite books, who would you choose?
Ooh,
She's thinking, listeners, she's thinking.
Probably Anna with the Chase from the Percy Jackson books.
Okay, so why Anna? Is it Annabeth or
Annabeth? Yeah.
Okay, why Annabeth Chase from the Percy Jackson books?
Because not only is she's kind, and she's also really smart, and she uses her wisdom, whereas everyone else in the group has a weapon or a power. She only has her brain. Okay. And she always manages to be one of the people who helps the most, even though she has no physical strength. Okay. Like she can sew and crochet, but that doesn't...
How does that work in a modern feminist world? Just somebody who's how do you feel about that as a young woman?
I mean, mostly it's because her mother's Athena that she can sew. Crochet. Because I don't know if you've ever heard the story of the one about the girl, and she gets turned into the first spider because she has a weaving match with Athena, and she challenges Athena because she is so confident in what she does. She's actually very egotistical about it.
Gotcha.
And she thinks she's better than everyone. She thinks she's better than a god, Athena. So Athena comes down as an old woman. Right. And she kind of goes, oh, you should...
Sorry, listeners, you can't see this, but Charlotte just did an impression of an old woman that frankly was baffling. good fun, but baffling.
Yeah, she comes down as an old woman. She goes, "You should not challenge Athena because
Gotcha.
you'll incur
Do
the
the
wrath
voice
of the
again.
gods."
What was the voice? You should not challenge Athena.
Yeah, like that.
Yeah.
And then when the girl goes, "No, I am better," she the old lady turns into Athena and goes, "We're going to have a weaving match."
Oh, weaving match. You got to have a weaving match.
So the girl, she depicts the gods as drunken
Yeah.
fools and idiots, and Athena depicts them in glory and
Gotcha.
might. And as a
What's the truth? Somewhere in the middle, do you reckon?
Probably.
Yeah.
But as a punishment, Athena turns the girl into the first ever spider.
Okay.
I think her name was Arcana,
Okay.
something along the lines of that, which is arcane.
Yeah.
Arachnophobia.
Yeah. Spot on.
So that's basically the origin story of spiders from Greek mythology.
See, you know what? You know what's interesting? One of my favourite books is American Gods by Neil Gaiman. Mm-hmm. And I read it a few years ago, and they recently made it into an Amazon Prime show.
Ah, yeah, you were watching.
Now, I love it. Absolutely love it. And I reckon that if I could be any book character, it would be Odin from American Gods. Ooh. So it's weird how both...
Odin, Norse gods.
Yeah, it was Norse. It was a bit of a trickster. He was a bit of a, in the show American Gods, he's trying to compete against modern gods like culture and television and the internet and technology. And it's a really interesting play. And Gaiman's an awesome writer. He's done some writing for Doctor Who, hasn't he?
Yeah.
So, listeners, both of our characters from books, weird pick,
godly related,
are related to gods.
Despite the fact that we're both atheists.
That is strange. But so what I'd like to do is find out from you who you'd choose as your favourite character from a book. If you could live the life as a character from a book, who would you choose?
Live the life? I don't know. I don't know if I want to beat up monsters every...
Well, yeah, maybe not live the life, but if you could be like one of the characters from a book, who would you choose?
Yeah.
So that's enough introductory waffle for this and first podcast, but I'm excited to get on with the show and talk a little bit about kindness. Are you?
Yes.
Awesome. So let's get on with the show.